ring.
Hello and welcome back again to RPG Quest, the podcast where we do not play D&D. And we are once again jumping back into a bit of bonus Call of Cthulhu with the modern day scenario called Ladybug, Fly Away Home. My name is Chris. I am your host and keeper. But of course, as always, the real stars of the show are our brave investigators. And joining me for this scenario is Nicole, aka FBI agent Theo Bloom. Hello.
Hello.
And Panda, aka Brendan, aka retired ATF officer Frank Bosco.
Yo.
A consulting investigator on this case, which, the case you're investigating is a child abduction, which happened this Thursday evening at about 6:30 p.m. when young Regina Balfour, just 5 years old, was snatched from her mother while they were shopping in a Bed Bath & Beyond big box store in Beechwood, Cleveland, Ohio. The little girl was snatched from the trolley, and there was a brief tussle as the abductor tried to go back for her Ladybug backpack. And then threw the child in the back of a car, a Ford Taurus, tan-coloured sedan, which drove off with the second abductor and the child before he ran back into the store, waving a firearm, shooting one of the workers in the kneecap before, I guess, kind of creating a distraction long enough until the police finally arrived, and shooting himself. The abductor has been identified as George Lewinston, himself a retired ATF officer, someone who, years ago, Frank Bosco had worked with. You identified him. Now Cleveland police and detectives are looking for both this Ford Taurus to see if they can find it and find the little girl, and also they've headed to his house to see what they might find there. While that was going on, though, our investigators looked up a bit of a history of the Balfour family. They are known to the ATF and the FBI. They're on the FBI Radical Domestic Terror Watch List, and have been investigated previously by the ATF under suspicions of, I guess, possession of illegal firearms. But those investigations turned up nothing. The family claim that they've been persecuted by the government for years now, and actually, Theo, upon questioning the family, you managed to learn that at some point, you didn't get an exact date, but at some point in the past, there was a case where Child Protective Services tried to remove Regina Balfour from their care and put them into foster care. You questioned the family, they left, and I think we were at that point now, it's about 8:30 p.m. on the Thursday evening, maybe coming closer to 9 p.m, when you were heading back up to where your office had been set up in the Cleveland PD building, where Lucy Bates, Theo's commanding officer in the FBI agent and head of the missing and exploited children's task force, Lucy Bates, which you'd set up, and she is doing some work. I believe you were going up there to brief her on what you'd learned after speaking with the family, and to perhaps have a few more leads to look into, perhaps looking up Regina's medical records, and also looking into these, seeing if you can get these court case files on the Balfour family from when the Child Protective Services previously tried to take Regina out of their care.
Yep. One of the leads that I want to investigate pertains to the medication, because we want to see whether anyone has actually tried to get their hands on this particular type of medication in the last couple of hours.
Yeah, great lead.
Yeah.
And I believe the second one was the trying to get court records on the family.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we might take different tacks on this, where you're a little more focused on, like, the way we can track down the child. I think Frank is more focused on, like, who are the enemies of the family from his bit talking to the father. So I'll go with the court records lead.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this as well. As you're up in the office with Lucy Bates briefing her on everything that you found out, she mentions that she can follow up on both of those and try and get those records to you as soon as possible. But she suggests that since the local police and detectives have already gone to canvass George Lewinston's house, she suggests perhaps if you want to, while she's chasing up those files, head over to his home in Cleveland and see if you can glean anything from there.
Yeah, I mean, before we do that, has his daughter shown up yet? Or is that going to be like a later thing?
Not yet. Lucy Bates...
As they indicated they would call her.
Yeah, Lucy Bates explains that they've contacted her and she'll be coming in soon, but she hasn't arrived yet.
All right. Yeah, well, the joys of having a whole team on your side. I guess let's go check out this house.
Yeah, great. You leave Cleveland PD and attempt to drive over to George's residence. Are you taking separate cars? What's the car situation?
I mean, I feel like it's more efficient if we share cars.
Yeah, true. You were driven here, but I drove here, so my Jeep would be parked in the garage.
Yeah.
I can drive.
Yeah, no problem. You head down and see, what is it, a Jeep Wrangler?
Yeah. Probably like a bit older too, like a mid-2000s like hardtop Wrangler.
And what state is the interior in as Theo goes to step in the passenger seat?
I mean, the car is clean on the outside, but the inside's probably fairly trashed, like files and stuff everywhere. He spends a lot of time traveling between places, so probably looks like a car that's been on the road a lot.
I'm not gonna mess up your system if I move this, right?
That'll be fine. There's no system. Just throw it in the back with the others.
Yeah, I guess I can clear a path to sitting in the front seat.
Yeah, great. And yeah, you depart from Cleveland PD and make your way this rainy evening towards George Lewinston's house. Given that, you were able to identify him pretty quickly as you arrived, there's already police tape up out the front. There's already a team searching for anything that might look like evidence as you pull up.
All right. This is going to be the second time in less than 3 hours that I ask you to take the lead, but there's a chance. I don't know how to say that. There's a chance that I might get a bit distracted in here. We were friends at one point. So, yeah. If I get a little weird, just you do you, all right?
I appreciate the heads up, and I understand that this might be difficult, but you did know him. I could use that insight.
Yeah. I'll be there. I'm not saying that I'm just going to check out. I'm just saying if I get caught up on something, don't let that hinder your part of the investigation.
I won't. Yeah, I'm going to probably just stroll up to whoever looks to be, directing people and get them to let us in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you stroll up to where this uniformed officer is keeping the perimeter, and he sort of goes to put up a hand, but you flash the FBI badge, and Bosco, you follow, flashing your own credentials, and he kind of gestures you through, and says, "Oh, FBI, huh?"
That's right.
All right. Yeah, follow me, and yeah, he leads you in. You see the front door is open, and there's some more movement inside. So you see there's a couple more officers, and some that appear to be detectives as well, gathering up things and combing the house.
Detectives, what have we found?
Oh, I've been trying to look for anything that looks like evidence, get some financial records. Unfortunately, this was all that was left of his computer and his phone, and it looks like they've been destroyed with a sledgehammer, left in pieces. More than welcome to have a look around, see if you can find anything.
Thank you. Let us know if you come across anything else of note.
Yep.
Alright, so the computer and the phone are a bust. Has he got, like, an office?
Yeah, each of you can give me a spot hidden roll as you comb through the various rooms of his house.
That is a 44 versus 60, so success.
Nice. And what about for Frank Bosco?
He's wrapped up in the weirdness of this moment. It's a 98 versus 60, a fail.
Yeah, Frank's just kind of tuning out as you walk through. Everywhere you try and walk, you feel like you're getting in the way of other officers combing the house already. You do wander into the garage, though, and notice that his car is still there, parked there. But for Theo, as you're going through, there's another detective in his office. It looks like they've already combed through everything there. It doesn't seem like there's anything that they've left unturned. As you kind of look through, there's old case files. So he's done some consulting on various cases from the ATF. There's a detective in there who's been combing through it all. But then something jumps out at you. You actually notice in the office a book, the book of the Passover Angel, as revealed to Reverend John Balfour.
Bosco, get over here. Look familiar?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's still, again, that clear fail, I think he's still just in a weird space. Exactly as he, said, I'm gonna be weird.
Hey, I get it, but there is a child missing. I need you to focus.
Yeah, well...
Was he a religious man?
No.
Do you think he was investigating the Balfours on the side?
Maybe, but I doubt it.
So what?
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's easier to believe that he got mixed up in something he thought he could handle and couldn't, than he was a double agent.
Flicking through the book, is it just as kind of crazy as it seems it would be?
Yeah, it's everything you'd expect. It sort of talks about the revelations that John Balfour has revealed, and that he says he's experienced. It's a cheap paperback. It's about 200 pages, and there are 4 chapters. The first 2 are just basically word-for-word reprints of the King James versions of the book of Genesis and Exodus. The 3rd chapter is called The Kenyan Revelations, and this is authored by Reverend John himself. It's pretty short. It sort of, talks about his youth mission to Kenya. And then the 4th chapter is just basically a set of bizarre drawings. They're like an appendix to the Kenyan Revelations. And there are all these charts, drawings, diagrams, all this sort of stuff, without any kind of explanation or prose. As you flick through, you can give me very quickly a library use roll as you just skim through this book.
90 versus 20.
So for me, that's a 70 versus 45. So that is also a failure.
Yeah, you can perhaps look through it in more detail if you have time to sit down, but for now, just skimming through, that's kind of all you get from it.
Does it look like it's been marked in any way? There's no, bookmarks or highlights or sticky notes or anything?
Not that you noticed from skimming through. You might need to sit down and spend a bit more time to see.
Yeah.
Something to remember for later. Even though it's not particularly long, it's still about 200 pages.
I mean, we didn't have to pay the $29.95 to get it, so that's a perk.
I will definitely be bagging this book. Are there any other hints to religious iconography on the walls or anything? Does it look like a relatively normal place aside from this crazy book?
It looks like a perfectly relatively normal place aside from this book, and surprisingly clean. There are not even any dirty dishes or anything. It looks like the place was left very tidy.
So, with that in mind, I think Bosco would be drawn to checking 3 particular things. First being medicine cabinet, bathroom, how he's getting ready in the morning. Does he have any weird bottles of pills or anything like that? Second being liquor cabinet. again, is he drinking anything weird? Is his habits changed? Is he drinking a lot? And third being kind of strange, but like a record player, whatever he's been listening to, is he listening to sermons on tape or CD or podcast, or is he just, listening to normal music? I think that's his focuses, because he's very, I think Frank is a lot more focused on, what the hell happened to a former partner than where's this kid right now.
Yeah, of course.
Which is probably why he's so distant.
As you sort of comb through, spending a bit of time, there's nothing that jumps out at you. The place was really clean. All his dishes were washed and left up. You go into his bathroom and look in the medicine cabinet. He doesn't seem to be on any medication. You just find mouthwash, razors, toothpaste, that kind of thing. Normal Panadol medicine, that sort of stuff. And then, liquor cabinet. There's a few half-drunk bottles. There is an empty bottle of whiskey, Scotch whiskey. But not, it's not concerning or anything. It's just in his liquor cabinet in his kitchen. And the fridge, as you open up the fridge, is quite empty.
Empty as in, almost nothing in it? Or, there's some takeout boxes? Or, he's obviously not cooking?
Almost nothing in it.
Okay. So he's not been living here.
Or it looks... give me an intelligence roll.
33 versus 60, that's a success.
Either he's not been living here, or it looks like he's kind of deliberately cleaned the place out a little bit, knowing that he wasn't ever planning to come back.
All right, yeah, again, we'll convey that to Theo. And that last thing about, music, I don't know if he's old school enough or hipster enough to have records, or if he just has, I don't know, an iPad or something. But would try to make an effort to see what he's been, ingesting media-wise. Just from personal interest of, I don't know, in my experience, people who are super, super religious listen to religious channels.
Yeah, of course. Well, his computer was obviously destroyed. He doesn't have a record collection. He's got a huge CD cabinet that you open up, and it's alphabetized very, very meticulously. And it's stuff from the 70s and 80s. It's eclectic taste, everything from Black Sabbath to Frank Zappa.
Yeah, all right. I think Bosco just smiles at that. It's oh, this one's a winner. Puts it back. And yeah, we'll go back to Theo and be like, well, I had hoped that it would be as simple as he was drugged or out of his mind or indoctrinated, but I don't see any of that. I mean, it seems like if there was any of that other than the book, he cleaned it out. What do you think?
Between that and the fact that he obviously knew Regina's medical condition, we have to assume this was premeditated. I mean, you saw what he did to himself.
Yeah.
You reckon he's cleaned this place out? Does anyone actually check the trash?
Oh. Certainly, loudly, certainly somebody must have checked the fucking trash, right?
One of the detectives kind of leans up from what he's doing and walks over and is like, yeah, we checked the trash. It's where we found the phone and the computer, but not much else. Bit of old food.
All right, trashed computer, trashed phone. Well,
that's pretty much it.
We can pull the what are they called? We can pull the card out of this, right? Pull the hard drive out, pull out the SIM card, and get something from it. Yeah,
maybe.
Frank says, as somebody who knows nothing about technology.
Yeah.
The guy shakes his head and says, all completely destroyed. I don't think there's any way we're getting any of that back. I guess the only thing we can do now is look at his phone records, financial records, see what he's been up to.
What about the neighbors? Anyone canvass the close neighbors, ask him if he's been keeping weird hours, any visitors?
Not yet.
Fucking get on it.
And he looks at you. Be my guest.
Yeah. Bosco laughs and I guess I'll just go knock on the first neighbor. Well, first we'll look at Theo, like, do you think this is a waste of time? But then go to knock on the neighbor's door. I think that what he's doing is trying to, like, compensate for the fact that he's very uncomfortable with trying to be like, oh, I've done this a million times, outwardly.
Yeah. Look, Theo is going to look around the place. Like, it seems like it's a bit of a bust. Like, it seems like obviously George has, tried to cover his tracks. So, yeah, I'll look to the officer, the detective, and just say, we'll finish up here. We'll go speak to the neighbours. If you see anybody approaching the property, let us know.
He just kind of does like a sarcastic kind of bow and then turns back to what he was doing.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Franklin. Charles Franklin.
Right, Franklin. Thank you for the cooperation.
My pleasure.
I'm just going to stare him down a little bit, but then follow Frank out.
Yeah.
So much more intimidating than Bosco shouting. Well done.
As you walk out and look around, the closest house next door, before you even approach, you see a little old lady standing out on her front little patio, like right by the front door, kind of almost half through the doorway, holding a cat in her arms, watching what's going on.
How are you doing tonight, ma'am? You feeling okay? That's a handsome cat you got there.
Oh, yes, it's Tim. He's not home,
George? We know. You look after George.
Did something happen to him? I look after Tim. Well, I'm looking after Tim.
Tim is George's cat?
That's right.
How long have you been looking after Tim?
Oh, it was just yesterday morning. He said he was going away for a while. Left some money for food and vet bills. He's not doing well, you see. And she sort of strokes the cat in her arms and kind of looks awkwardly, deciding whether or not to go inside.
That's all right. You're doing a wonderful job. Thank you for looking after Tim. Reaches out to pet the cat gingerly. I think this is one of the few interactions that Bosco would be like Ginger, as it's an elderly person. You must be close to be the person he'd turn to look after Tim there.
Oh, I don't think he really had many friends.
Yeah, well, still, you say, what, yesterday? He asked you to look after him.
That's right.
Well, how was he? I mean, you must have talked fairly often for him to come to you. Was he doing all right? Did he seem upset or scared? Or?
No, he just said he was going away for a weekend.
Going away for a weekend. Does he do that often?
No, never. He doesn't really have many guests or anything.
Well, that's strange. The George I knew was a very, very personable guy. Lots of friends, lots of people about. I mean, I'm sure you must have seen at least one or two friends come over, and,
Oh, just his daughter. Oh, I assume his daughter, young woman, from time to time.
Yeah. How long have you been neighbors?
Oh, I've been here. It was after I was in Pittsburgh, so it was, when was that? It was September 2021. I moved here. George was already living here at that time.
I assume you went over and introduced yourself. You seem like the type. Maybe you.
Oh yeah.
Any other neighbors that, I don't know, kept similar hours?
Similar hours? He was, I don't know. He was always quite quiet about what he did for work. He seemed to do some work from home and go out and work sometimes, and other times a young woman would come over, but that was only recently. I think give me either a persuasion or a relative social skill from each of you.
Oh shit! All right, 8 versus 10 success.
Ooh, lucky. She says he spent a lot of time at that cafe. He always went to frequent that diner. There's a grungy place in downtown. Extravaganza, it's called.
I also got a 53 versus a 66, which is a success. I think at this point, I'm probably just like going with whatever Bosco's doing because he's whatever it is, it's obviously working. So maybe I'm just kind of smiling and occasionally patting the cat.
Yeah, as you reach over and pat the cat, it kind of lets out a little meow. You notice that it's got some bandages on it. It appears to be like in a bit of discomfort. It's not well. And you notice that the bandages are covering up some boils.
Do you know how Tim got these?
Oh, he's on medication. He's not well. He's old. These things happen as you get older. You'll see.
Looks like a pretty nasty injury. You said that you've been taking him to the vet?
Not yet, but I have some cash if I need to, or get a refill on the medication. I've got enough for now.
Well, like I said, I'm an old friend of George, and I mean, if he trusted you with Tim, then I'm sure he would want his friends to help you with that. And you can't be left with all of it. And again, Bosco will like pull out, I don't know, like $20-$30, something, whatever he has in his pocket. He'd go and be like, yeah, for Tim's bills. And, we appreciate you being such a good neighbor.
Oh, you don't need to do that. He left me plenty of cash. It's okay. But can I just ask is something happened to George?
Well, is there like a? I mean, I don't know about this part of the U.S. Is there like a chair on the porch or anything, like a little table or anything?
Yeah, she's got like patio furniture, just like a wooden seat. Yeah,
I mean, I guess I would like gingerly pat her on the shoulder. But you might want to sit down, man. We can talk a little bit, but why don't you let my partner here take a look at Tim? He looks like maybe he got into something he shouldn't have. That George shouldn't have been leaving around. He was absent-minded from time to time.
Okay, and she sort of confusedly passes you the cat. Just be careful. He's not well.
Okay, take the diseased cat.
I mean, Bosco will like look to you and be like, the fingers, and then turn back to the lady and just start, again, trying to very gingerly and carefully and kindly explain to her that, George has gotten himself mixed up in something, and she probably won't be seeing him again, but the daughter will come by soon. And...
Oh dear. Yes, if I see the daughter, I'll let her know, of course. Is he okay, George?
No, ma'am, it pains me to say that, well, and, leading back to that earlier conversation, he's with the Lord now. He's not going to be coming home anytime soon. And that's why it's so important that we talk to you as a good neighbor, somebody he trusted, somebody he clearly cared about, as he asked you to take care of Tim. If there was anything you saw or anyone you met that might have intended him harm, or somebody who came around who just didn't belong here,
She slumps back in a chair and kind of puts a hand on her head and kind of slumps back. Give me another either persuasion, charm.
All things I'm real bad at. I'll go with charm. It's a 34 versus 15 to fail.
She slumps back on a chair and sort of touches her head and says, "Oh dear, George! Oh my goodness! Oh George!" And she sort of kind of blocks off a little bit.
I mean, Bosco again. At this point, he certainly won't try to physically comfort her because he would feel like weird about that. She is a stranger, but say, no, I understand. I knew him for many years. It's hard news, and I'm sorry to be the one to deliver it. But we just, it's important that we try to learn everything we can. When I knew him, he was a good man, but this thing he's got mixed in up, there's Ma'am, this is gonna upset you, but there's a missing little girl, and we gotta find her.
She's sort of quite flustered as she's holding her head now, and she's like, I need to go in. I need to just go inside and sit down. And she just goes to stand up.
Why don't we all go inside and Frank here can put on some tea, and I'll just make sure that Tim's okay. All right?
That's a good idea.
She nods and tries to pull herself up out of the seat and shuffle inside. And yeah, she points out where the tea is, and you all find yourself sitting around her dining room table. As you finally make her a tea, she's sort of shaking as she puts it up to her lips, and she says, honestly, I haven't seen anyone or anything other than, like I said, the young woman was coming around once or twice. I assumed it was his daughter. I didn't ask. Long hair, young, maybe 30 years old. That's all quite pretty. That's all I remember, honestly.
Sorry, what colour hair?
No, brown or blonde? Maybe light brown.
I mean, does that fit the description of his daughter? Like, I saw he has a daughter and a name, but I don't know anything about the daughter.
Give me a luck roll. See if you've ever met the daughter Nicole.
38 versus 60. That's a success.
That's a success. You know that Nicole has, at least when you knew her, black hair, as a teenager, tattoos, piercings.
Yeah, I mean, recognizing that he's already kind of screwed the pooch on this, hearing that description, Bosco will just continue pouring tea, but, look at Theo and, shake his head no. As if to indicate, that's not the daughter.
Alright, well... Let's look at this cat, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can give me a medicine roll, or if you've got a natural sciences or something.
What have I got? Because I think we worked out medicine was not good. Yeah. Okay. Let's do
natural world.
Let's do natural world. It's it's 100 versus 10. I don't know what a cat is. That's a failure.
You sort of put the cat down and try to peel away one of these bandages to get a closer look at the sores, and the cat rears up and hits you a couple of times with its paws before, as agile as this old cat can be, it rushes off into a different part of the house. She says, "Oh, Tim." As the neighbor tries to get up for a second.
I think it would be a good idea to take Tim to the vet.
Well, he's got medication. He's on antibiotics for the sores. They said there's not really much else they can do for hope that it clears up. At least that's what George said.
Do you know which vet in town George takes Tim to?
I've got the number here somewhere. She sort of stands up and shuffles over towards the fridge and pulls down a piece of paper and passes it to you.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, it's just a local vet, just not far from here.
Okay, well, I'm probably going to defer to Bosco on this one, as to whether or not he thinks there's anything else that we need to be asking. But I don't think we're getting much else out of this one.
Yeah, I really think, mindset-wise, Bosco is pretty concerned that he's upset her, in the sense, again, there's few things that he respects, but the elderly is one of them. He's kind of old school. Not to say that's not something we all do, but in that weird old school sense where he's called her ma'am the whole time. And but he will say, without indicating whether it's the daughter or not, well, listen, ma'am, we really appreciate your time and your help on this, and thank you for looking after Tim. We just, this girl who came over, it's the last time you saw her.
Oh, goodness. Maybe 3 days ago.
3 days ago. And did you happen to see, what kind of car she was driving, or, I mean, she had to have parked down in the garage, or out front.
give me a luck roll.
Oh, 7 versus 60, extreme success.
She says, some kind of Ford sedan.
Ooh.
It was light brown color.
Exchange knowing glances.
Thank you for having us in. Thank you for the tea and your time. And again, thank you for looking after Tim. You're a good woman. And keep your eye out on this neighborhood. I mean, you're obviously doing a good job looking after your neighbors, and we appreciate that. And we'll look over to Theo like you got anything else, because I'm starting to feel like we're encroaching too much on this lady's space.
Again, thank you for your time, ma'am. Is there anyone that we can call for you?
Oh.
Do you need anyone to come over?
I don't have anything to be worried about, do I? Should I be worried?
Oh, of course not, but it's obviously rough news. So, how about this? How about I give you my card? And if you do need to chat about anything, you can give me a call.
Okay, yes. Thank you. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, you're gonna see police in and out. You might see something on the news, but don't worry yourself too much over it.
Oh goodness. Okay. And yeah, she goes to see you out and thank you once again.
Yeah, once we're outside and out of earshot, Bosk will look at Theo and be like, sorry about that. I thought that we had, I don't know, I thought maybe she could tell us something, but car though, and the girl, that's not his daughter. We got some out of it, maybe.
You think we've got the driver?
We might. Not the driver, somebody involved. Somebody involved enough that they were coming over here to talk to him fairly regular.
At that point, Nicole, your phone vibrates, pings off. You've got a text from Lucy Bates saying that she's got the records, and also that Nicole is here.
Well, looks like the daughter and our records are waiting for us back at the station.
Well, is there anything else you think we need to check out here? I mean, we've looked the place over. But if anything else springs to mind before we go, now's the time.
I'm probably just going to pull out the bag that's got the book in it and say, I think we've got all we're going to get from here.
Yeah. All right. Give me 1 second, and I'll pull the car around. And Bosco's just gonna dip his head in, and again just be a total dick and be like, cleaning supplies, anything caustic, bleach, lye, anything like that, anything. Look for it. Check the sinks. Find me something to do with something that could have burned off fingerprints and scalded a cat. All right, thank you. And then dip back out and go get the car.
Okay, Chief.
What is this Franklin gas problem?
He's looking for a fucking promotion is his problem. Yeah.
You head back into, you head back and grab the car in this rain and this storm and, pull it round front. So Theo can hop in and you guys, I assume, can head back to the police station. You also got the name and the sort of the rough address of this cafe that she said that George frequents, the Extravaganza Diner.
Which is a great name for a diner. I think on the ride, Bosco's probably at first going to put on some of that, quality, this is a winner music. But at some point, it's probably not too far of a drive, but to say to Theo, kind of zoned out back there. Apologies for that, but appreciate you taking the lead. You got a good eye for this. Totally condescendingly, but trying to be friendly.
Yeah, well, I guess I'd hope so.
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, go.
I'm sorry. I guess this must be hard.
Well, I wouldn't have thought George would end up like this, or any of us. I don't know. You never know.
Not to press it again, but was he somebody who Well, what were his dating habits? Who is this woman likely to be?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, he's good at his job, fairly personable, easy to get along with, didn't ask too many pressing questions. Good drinker. That's about it. That's about all I got. He, to my memory, didn't take the job home as much as some of us, which is part of the surprise of all this.
So you just can't see a world in which George Lewitson does this?
Oh, I see it. I certainly see it. I mean, like I said, it could happen to any of us. I just don't see it without an outside force. Like, this is not something that George is going to wake up and just decide, oh, today I'm going to go kidnap and murder myself for a child that I'm stealing from a religious cult. He's not, I don't know how else to say it, but he's not one of them. You know, he's not the folks that we look into. Till he was.
I mean, none of this seems to add up. I mean, if you're going to go and commit an atrocity and kill yourself, you get the neighbor to look after the cat?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's shitty to say, but I guess his training served him well. Burn off your fingertips, cover your tracks, throw everything out of the apartment. Neighbor watch the cat. Not leaving us too much to go off. I could only assume that, however he got involved with this, whoever tapped him, they knew he'd do a good job. I guess he says that with like a odd reverence, considering the situation. Like, you know, what a good criminal.
Yeah, I'll say probably about this point would be when you pull back up to the building of the Cleveland Police Department.
Yeah, look, I think on that note, I probably just would get out of the car and make my way up to Lucy's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see Lucy is sitting there on her laptop, and she stands up as she sees the two of you approaching. Any luck at George's house?
Not as much as we could have hoped. Seems to have cleaned up after himself.
Right.
We got this book, an injured cat, and potentially a description of the driver of the sedan.
You got a description?
Yeah.
Okay. And she is going to, call over Chief Kim McNatt as well, as you begin to, allow you to describe the description of this woman, at least as, you heard it from the neighbor. This female Caucasian, probably about 30 years old, with long, dark blonde hair.
This might be a nothing burger, like just totally pointless. But in this modern age of, everyone having security cameras, there must be, like, either the parking garage or some shop across the street or something that has a camera nearby that apartment. And Bosco would, like, flag on that and say, look, we've got the basic description, we've got a description of the car, we've got times. There has to be somewhere that we can get a photo. There's gotta be. I mean, there's not a street corner, and he gets all, crazy about it. There's not a street corner in this goddamn country where there's not a camera looking at you.
Lucy sort of perks up at that and says, yeah, maybe. Maybe we don't even need to go back a couple of days. Maybe we can try and find cameras leading out of this big box store earlier tonight.
We also know the last time that George was home was yesterday morning.
Right.
Yeah, we've got a car, we've got somebody visiting, we've got a time he left. We've got cause, we've got time. There's gotta be a way we can connect them all. I mean, again, cameras, man, cameras. Yeah, and sounds like the preacher for a minute.
Yeah. First and foremost, she says, Lucy looks at the both of you and says, well, for now I got medical records and court records. Here. She's clearly printed these out. The first pages that she gives to you are on Regina Balfour's medical records. And there's actually there's a ream of them. Regina suffers from a litany of chronic illnesses as you flick through this. But the most serious one is the one that the mother mentioned, pulmonary obstruction. It shows that she takes this steroid medication to breathe effectively. And without it, she'll have trouble breathing. She'll gradually slip into severe oxygen deficit, which can kill her. She could live a day, maybe a week, without her medication pump. There's only one whiff of anything that sounds like possible mistreatment over the 5 years of her life, and that was that. And even that is pretty small fish. It's just that she was seen by the doctor for head lice a few weeks ago.
It is, but it's not. I mean, I think Bosco's immediate question on that, after looking at the records, is: did she go to a public school, or was she homeschooled?
Lucy looks and says, "I believe she was homeschooled." Yeah.
Well, then lice is something. If she was around other kids, if she was public school, if she was even a private school, of the age, lice, that's overlook it. It's nothing. But homeschooled means she was somewhere different, somewhere new, some environment that had lice around people that might have been able to pass that to her. So, some kind of lead, somewhere different, something new. Maybe we can press that.
Lucy kind of cocks an eyebrow and says, well, seems like a long bow to draw. I mean, family had a chapel out the back. I'm sure people were coming and going all the time. Pretty hard to narrow that one down, maybe.
I hear you. Hard to narrow it down. People come and go all the time. But it hadn't happened before, so it's a change of behavior. I'm not saying it's the smoking gun. Look, if I walk in somewhere and I end up with lice, then we know we're in the right place, right? And again, laughs at his own joke.
Right. Well, anyway, here are the court records. And she hands you these child welfare, local court records on the Balfours. And Lucy says, neither Balfour has any criminal convictions, just squeaky clean in that regard. Squeaky clean. But a child welfare investigator named Lindsay Peel started showing up and conducting a series of welfare checks on Regina about 3 years ago. Apparently they were polite to her, nothing came of it, for about a year. But then 2 years ago, Mrs. Peel apparently shows up on the doorstep with a bunch of local police officers. She serves them with papers accusing them of child abuse. And court records show that the Balfours had no idea what she was talking about. And apparently she wouldn't explain anything to them. Court records about the child abuse claim, they show that it was a non-criminal complaint from 2 years ago alleging child neglect and abuse, aimed at moving Regina into foster care and terminating the Balfour's parental rights. The complaint, you can look over it yourself. It's pretty long in rhetoric about a dangerous household, but short on details, and everything is based on an unnamed, and she does air quotes, confidential source. Lindsay Peel signed the affidavit, and that began the process of removing Regina, who was then 3, from their care, and this resulted in Regina being put in emergency temporary foster care at some county-operated shelter. It's all in there. The county obtained several continuances and managed to drag out this court hearing for a while. Finally, the Balfours had a chance to defend themselves at court, and at the court hearing, the county attorney dismissed it pretty much immediately. Regina was returned straight back to her parents. The judge openly was pretty scathing, questioning the motivation and the motivation for the petition in the first place. The judge has this quote: "The utter lack of any evidence of abuses." The judge even threatened to hold Miss Peel in contempt of court if she ever tried anything like this again.
The date on that, does it match up with any ATF investigations?
It doesn't, no.
Frank's just going to assume that it was a smoke and mirror to try to get them to make some mistakes. like, regardless of evidence, he's just like, this was a sanctioned move to try to get the girl out of the house to see what they would do.
It looks like
another...
it looks like this Child Protective Services woman, Lindsay Peel. It seems as though they tried to do everything that they could to like drag this case out as long as possible.
Yeah.
But then finally, the moment it went to court, it was immediately thrown out.
So, but for the whole time that the investigation was going on, that Regina wasn't in the house.
No, she was in county foster care.
Yeah, I mean, again, Frank will vocalize that to Theo. Like, this to me looks like kind of tactic that at least I, if I was part of a task force, would take to put pressure on the family. Not anything substantial. What do you think?
Ethical considerations aside from forcibly removing a child from a house to try and get the parents to slip up?
Well,
I think we need to talk to this officer.
Yeah, Lindsay Peel, huh? Let's see if we can look into her. And Kim McNatt says, yeah, I'll get onto that.
What about local pharmacies? Has anyone reported any theft?
Not yet, unfortunately, but we're keeping those channels open.
This isn't the kind of thing that is just on a shelf waiting to be picked up. Like, they would have to...
Yeah.
I assume they would have to get, like, a pharmacist or whatever to...
Yeah, exactly. It's not something that you can pick up over the counter. They would have to somehow get a script or, like your instinct, like break in and steal it or something.
Yeah, we need to lead. We need to beat the streets on this. We're losing time, spinning wheels.
Lucy says the daughter's here as well. She's already spoken to some detectives.
Yeah. How was she treated? How did she come in? What was her disposition? Does she know? Did she see the body?
She's seen the body, yeah. Said that they hadn't spoken in a while.
Anybody clock her reaction? I mean, was she shocked? Was she... I know it's callous, but... How was she? How is she?
She's, I would say in shock, yeah.
If she hasn't spoken to him for a while, there might be a reason. She might know if and when he started changing his behaviours, changing who he associated with. She might know this other woman. I think we need to talk to her.
This is going to be another example of one of those moments where Bosco's just going to be like, Theo, do the talking, because I'm just going to play a part. I wasn't sure if I had met the daughter until we rolled earlier, and I obviously had.
Yes.
So now it's kind of like my role is to not interrogate her. So.
Oh, you're not going to go in at all?
No, I'm going to go in, but I'm going to play the, concerned family friend who wants to comfort her, not the questioning officer. But before we ever got there, I would clarify this, that I'm not trying to slow us down, but since we have established that I have met her at least once, I can't exactly walk in and be like, tell us about your dad,
Yeah, no, that is all perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. Cool. So you, the two of you make your way to the interrogation room, led there, and you can already see from the outside a young woman, Nicole, looks a little different from when you first met her as a child, but still the same person. She's got very short crew cut, black hair, slicked back, a little wet from the rain, and a few piercings. She's wearing a motorcycle jacket. A tall, thin woman.
Yeah, I stop at the, what's it called? The, vending machines to, I don't know, grab her an orange soda or something. Something I would remember that she enjoyed at some point. Probably doesn't now. But the one time I met her, she was like, I love purple soda, or something like that. And grab one of those to bring in. And Bosco will not sit at, opposite from her. We'll sit kind of between her and Theo at the table to try to establish, we're friends. And enter the room, offering that and providing condolences immediately.
Yeah. She's, sitting at this table. As the two of you enter, she looks up and then looks across at you, Bosco, and recognizes you. And she stands up. And she's like, Frank.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Nicole. horrible news.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's going on?
Well, have a seat. Again, pass her the, again, I would assume she probably doesn't still drink orange soda, but, pass the orange soda. Have a seat. Don't try to calm yourself down. And we've got a couple things to talk about. My partner here would like to ask you some questions, but we're really worried about, what happened with George. I mean, it's been a lot of years. How have you been?
She sort of looks at the orange soda and smiles and sits down and actually picks up the cold can and presses it against her head. And she says, I mean, yeah, I've been okay. So you're still doing the ATF thing, huh?
Oh, I mean, I consult these days. It was a lot of years. You know how it was.
Sure.
But I'm just thankful that they called me over this, because I mean, somebody's gotta look out for y'all. And again, try to do that whole, we're buddies bullshit.
Yeah, she's, comforted by your presence. You can give me a psychology roll, both of you.
I'm a 73 versus 40 fail.
I'm an 84 versus 55 failure.
Yeah, just kind of hard to read. Very stern, stoic-looking woman. She doesn't look as though she's been crying or anything. She looks quite well composed, but you're not sure whether that comes down to character or whether she knows something.
I guess basketball start in the hopes that I can open a door for you and just say, look, Nicole, I spent a lot of years, and there's a lot that I had known George for a long time. He's a good man when I knew him, but I don't know him now. I still think he's a good man. But let me ask you this. Got any new girlfriends? Anybody you've heard about? Because we've been told that he was seeing this, I hate to say it, but younger girl, blonde. Came around his place quite a bit. Maybe a girlfriend, maybe just a friend, but...
What?
I don't know. I mean, George I knew. I mean, he loved you. Y'all were close. Maybe he talked to you about her.
We weren't that close. I mean, I saw him. Last time I saw him was his birthday, and that was fine. I mean, all this aside, I did love him, but him and I didn't exactly see eye to eye on certain aspects of my lifestyle. I mean, he's still a good man, but I wish we were closer.
Yep, just nod, and again, that's I'm trying to open the door, not dominate them.
Yeah. Look, at this point, I'll sort of take the seat and just say, I am very sorry for your loss, Nicole. My name's Theo. As Frank said, we're working to get to the bottom of all of this, and I was just really hoping that you could help us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you say that you haven't spoken to your father in a while, and that perhaps there's some underlying issues there, but did you notice a change in him at all recently?
No, I mean, like I said, last time I saw him was his birthday. That was at the beginning of the year. It was a while ago. What's this girlfriend?
A neighbor said that he would be occasionally visited by a young woman, maybe early 30s, dark blonde hair.
Dark blonde hair. Give me a persuade, please. Or charm, whichever you prefer.
Let's go charm, because I guess that's the setup from Bosco there. 92 versus 55. It's a failure.
Oh no.
Not so charming.
She sort of shakes her head and continues to put this soda on her forehead. This cold can of orange soda. She says, like I said, I have no idea if he was seeing anyone. If he was, he'd never mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it wasn't a girlfriend. I just assumed he's a fairly charming man in his own way. Apologies. Who knows? Maybe he's just an associate. But I'd hoped that there might be somebody that you'd seen with him There's just so much that we're wondering about. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah.
Did he talk about joining a new community? Did he speak about church?
What? No.
Well, let's listen. You might get angry with me about this, and it's okay. You can get angry. I've known you since you were fucking knee-high to a cricket, so get angry if you want. But look, you look like you've had some making your time. And hey, who hasn't? But I never knew George to be the kind who would go get some serious work done. But he had this. Check this out. And push the drawing of the tattoo to her.
What?
Tell you about this?
Definitely never seen that.
Well, I mean,
What is that?
Yeah, he went for the kind of the hardcore shoulder tat marking. I was surprised. It didn't seem like his style.
No, I mean, he always gave me grief.
He didn't tell you about this?
No. That's really weird.
Yeah, again. Look to Theo like, the fuck, man? What do we say? Shit.
How many tattoo parlors in town?
Oh, there's heaps. It's a big city.
I mean, it sounds like you guys didn't really talk about ink, but you would never have mentioned where you go?
No, I never told him. Tried to hide them best I could.
Well, I had hoped this had been some kind of thing where the two of you had gone to get some tattoos and it was, I don't know, a friendly bonding moment, not something different. By all accounts, he's not been himself lately, and you haven't seen him since his birthday. Have you talked? Has he called you? I mean, he must have, right?
Like I said, we didn't exactly see eye to eye. Actually, well, I brought my girlfriend to his birthday, and it wasn't really his thing. Put it that way.
What? George got upset about that? Really? Well, I guess we all get cantankerous in our old age and scratches at his gray and his beard. You
obviously felt that you could bring your girlfriend to meet your father. It's sort of what I've been looking for here, Nicole. Was the reaction something you expected?
Yeah. I was worried. It wasn't he didn't fly off the handle or anything, but I could tell he just didn't enjoy it.
I'm sorry about that.
Well.
Yeah.
Before you stopped talking as much, did you ever go get a meal together?
Yeah, from time to time.
Do you have a favorite place?
This shithole little cafe. He used to love it. Yeah, it's excellent or something.
Extravaganza.
Yes.
Is that the one?
That's the one.
Yeah, they do a hell of a Benny, right?
I guess. Can you fill me in on exactly what's happened?
Bosco won't say anything. He'll look to Theo can we? But with that eyebrow raise of I want to tell them everything, but can we?
There's an ongoing investigation, and unfortunately I'm obligated not to share any details. I apologize.
From what they told me, there was a second person involved. Do you think it's what? Do you think it's his girlfriend?
We don't know. We know that this other person that was involved could have been the girlfriend of the driver, or they could have been a third person or a fourth person. We don't know yet. What we do know is that George was not himself, and we're trying to find out why.
Yeah. I wish I knew.
We're hoping to get some answers on that soon, too.
Let me ask you this, and I'm sorry if this is hard to answer, but over the years, right, the job is hard. We keep what we can to ourselves. We protect our families. But did George ever indicate to you that he was investigating a religious cult? A group called the Balefors? He ever rant to you or get so attached to the moment that he seemed out of place, focused on this particular group? It happens.
Give me a final charm, please. I'm going to say.
All right. Oh, shit. 8 versus 15. Success.
She shakes her head and finally cracks open the can. He never really wanted to talk to me about work. It's just funny because I work with children too. I'm a teacher. But he was always much closer with Lindsay talking about that kind of thing.
Lindsay? Is this a connection I would know or no?
Lindsay Peel.
The ex-wife?
Lindsay Peel is the name of... No, it's not his ex-wife's name. Lindsay Peel was the name of the child services person who put the case up against the Balfours all those years ago.
So you're saying that your father knew Lindsay Peel?
Lindsay Peel? Yes, she's my cousin. Wait, how did you know her last name?
Yeah, it's all right. It's just
what's going on?
Somebody we've worked with in the past. Don't stress too much. And we appreciate what you've told us. Like, again, it's been hard. And look, you knew your father better than any of us, so you know how this goes. You're gonna see some shit on the TV. You're gonna see some shit on the news. But there's no answers yet, so you know what you know, and don't let it get to you. All right?
Well, if anything comes up, can I?
Yeah, passes a card immediately.
Yeah, she takes it, tucks it into a jacket pocket, and has another sip of the orange soda and puts it down, and kind of awkwardly sort of waits a moment before figuring out whether she should head for the door.
Yeah. Thank you, and we appreciate how hard this has been.
Right. Yeah. I'll call you if anything comes to mind.
Yeah, and awkward as it may be, when the arrangements are made, please call me. I'll be there.
You see she finally kind of looks away, breaks eye contact, and for the first time looks incredibly sad, and then takes a deep breath and looks back at you, Theo, and gives you a nod and goes to make a way out of the room.
Yeah, I'll get up and open the door for her. And I'll probably, shut it and turn back to Bosco. So Lindsay Peel is George Lewinson's, niece?
Yeah, didn't know that. Yeah, well, it's a lead. I need a minute. I'll come out in a second. And I think this is the moment where he's gonna take that final step to be okay, this is a job now, and stop being connected to it.
Yeah. Theo's probably just gonna shrug and say, "Do what you have to do." And I will go and try and find the address or otherwise contacts for this Lindsay Peel.
Yeah. If you do that, upon notifying Lucy Bates about it, there's all of a sudden a big kerfuffle in the police station. So they now have an ID on potentially the second perp. So there's all this movement as, the IDs get updated. People are looking up addresses, names, all that sort of stuff, any connections. And after a moment, you find yourselves in the briefing room with Kim McNatt, Lucy Bates, and a few other officers. And Kim McNatt sort of addresses you and says, right, we got to move quickly. We're going to go hit this address. These abductors have already shown that they can be armed and dangerous, so we're going to have to bring a SWAT team with us.
With all respect, we know how this goes if SWAT comes.
Lucy sort of nods, and she says, if they have to come, they're going to wait in the wings. Let us go up and talk to them first, if they're at home.
No. Bring them. Bring the SWAT. Have our backup, but we're first in, first out. Yeah.
Kim nods.
I think this is the first moment in what we've played so far where Bosco, like, is suddenly, like, alive. Like, this is literally the shit he lives for. Where he, like, suddenly smiles. And, like, almost, like, pats Theo on the shoulder and is like, well, we've got some work to do. Let's get on it.
Yeah. You know, you guys gear up. As so does this SWAT team of, I guess, you know, what you'd probably view as, like, yahoos that go to drive out as well. You've got your weapons with you. You get given bulletproof jackets as well. And finally begin to roll out. I assume, Bosco, you take your car. Theo and Lucy, you ride up in the FBI, the black Dodge Charger. And yeah, siren on, and following behind you is this police SWAT van as you take out into the night, under the rain, towards the address of Lindsay Peel. I reckon it's probably a good spot to leave it, right?
Yeah. At the door knock. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next time. Thanks again, and yeah, see you guys later.
Yeah. Looking forward to it already. Thanks, guys.
No worries. See ya.
Bye.